So welcome to my review for Mafia The Old Country. I won't lie, I had been looking forward to this one for a while now.
Damiano Bastoni.
Mello, what was he thinking?
Oh, he wasn't.
And I've actually got a Let's Play series sort of running alongside it. So to be fair, this game's absolutely caught me off guard in the best possible way. So in this video, I'm just going to break down my review. It'll be broken down into sections: narrative, acting, gameplay, graphics, and sound. The direction they've taken here is really authentic. I like the grit, and it all comes together to make one of the most standout games I've played this year so far. There are some repetitive knife fights, and the storyline's a little bit predictable, but nonetheless, I've really enjoyed myself. I'm going to try and keep this spoiler free, and the footage will just be from the early game. And don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the video, and drop your comments. Are you enjoying the game? And let's get into it. So firstly, we're going to talk about the story. So we step into the life of Enzo, who's working in the sulphur mines, and he's been sold into labour by his own father, which is just brutal. And it's a classic from nothing to something rise. It's got a gritty, raw twist. But right from the start, you can feel the environment. Again, the oppressive heat, the endless grind, and the all-is-lost mentality hanging over the workers. And Enzo has dreams of escaping and starting a new life. And it opens with a really human hook, and the game wastes no time in slinging you into the brutal, hard labour setting. And you instantly know it's going to be like a really slow uphill climb. I'm not going to spoil anything important, but let's just say things in the mine don't go smoothly. Enzo eventually loses his cool and rebels against the management, and it leads to a really intense knife fight, one of the most intense knife fights I've played in a game. The knife fighting is really good, to be fair. And from there, he's forced to go on the run, goes out and hides by nearby land. And that's where we get introduced to the family. But I'm going to stop there at story specifics, but I have to say the writing here is second to none. And I'll always happily take a shorter story if it means the quality is this high. And it's not necessarily the most original story, and it could be considered quite predictable, but I've really enjoyed it nonetheless. So world design. So I've included this under the story and narrative section because the world here is designed to tell a story, not just to be like a playground. It's not the kind of like open world that we're used to. It's more like a carefully crafted stage, and it's just built for one purpose: to serve the narrative. Again, I'd heard a lot of people talking about this not being open world, but when you actually start playing it, it's a lot more open than you'd expect, at least within the scope of the missions. You do get the, oh, you're about to leave the mission area if you veer off track, but it never really broke immersion. I didn't feel the need to sort of drive off and explore. I was just wrapped up in the story and happy to just go with the flow.
Man at your back? What happened at the mine?
It was a collapse. People died. Not sure how many.
The world itself is really beautiful, detailed, and perfectly matches the tone of the story, and everything feels in its place and like it belongs, and like it's part of a bigger lived-in history. But I think they've done a really good job here. I did have concerns about it, one, it being shorter, and two, when I hear it's not open world, I always get a bit alarmed, but it is sort of opening in more ways than you'd think. So the pacing. So one of the standout for me of this is the actual pacing. I'd literally say it's close to perfect. I didn't find myself getting bored or waiting for anything to happen, or feel like anything overstayed its welcome. And again, it's just a testament to the writing, which again is just really brilliant. And it's rare to get pacing this tight in a video game, and so well executed, but they definitely nailed it. And even the smallest like side characters have depth, and the quality of the dialogue makes the whole experience just feel a lot broader and richer. But I just really enjoyed the flow of this game. Nothing overstayed its welcome. So the acting. So the acting here is genuinely some of the best acting I've ever seen in a video game. Right up there with Red Dead Redemption 2.
Somewhere to put your things.
This is good.
Good might be a stretch, but it's yours for now. You get some rest. I'll be back later to talk about work.
There are not really any flat performances, nothing feels awkward or out of place, and all the scenes feel alive, and the motion capture and delivery is just absolutely brilliant. Again, Enzo's performance is absolutely astonishing, and I've been on the edge of my seat the whole way through, and I was really hooked and captured in by Enzo's story. But getting the writing and the acting both right is a really difficult thing to do.
I tell you, mine boy, say hello.
Who are you?
Someone who belongs here. Not here. Out there. You though, you look right at home in the big pen.
not just in game development, but in anything. But when you do get it right, you've got a recipe for something truly special. And I feel like that's exactly what's happened here. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find acting better, not just in games, but in entertainment in general. I was truly blown away by some of the levels of acting in this game. So mission design. So for me, the mission design just was bang on. It's focused and intentional, and it doesn't feel like it's been padded out with busy work just for the sake of keeping you in the game for longer. Every mission does feel like it's pushing the story forward in some way. Some missions are a bit slower and more conversational and give the characters time to breathe and let it all soak in. And again, some that just take you through the world, which I just really enjoy that. I love nature and just the open world in games. But some of them just throw you straight into the high tense situations where you can barely keep your head above the water. But I didn't really feel like I was doing any filler jobs, and everything felt like it was woven together and all fit as part of the bigger picture. And for me, all the missions and chapters felt well worth doing, and nothing really skipped a beat. So the combat, yeah, it feels gritty and weighty and what you'd expect and what you'd want from a Mafia game. The guns definitely have a punch to them. You feel the recoil, you hear the crack when a bullet hits. And it's not just some standard arcade style shooter. You do have to be deliberate, take cover and pick your moments. And the enemies really love taking cover as well. And again, you can run up to them, pull out your knife. There is melee combat in there. It did take me a while before I realised that there was, just going up and pressing circle on the PlayStation. Fighting's definitely quite brutal and gritty. And the knife fights, yeah, so the knife fights I found really, really good, especially at the start. They do get a bit repetitive. But, you know, there's some decent controls. You've got the parry, you've got the dodge. You're able to break their guard. Yeah, so I really did enjoy the knife fighting myself. So stealth. So there is stealth here, and it does work quite well when it works. Sneaking around, taking enemies out quietly and avoiding detection can be satisfying. I just don't like the missions where it's forced, like those Spider-Man ones with Mary Jane. But that being said, it can be a little unforgiving. There are some areas that if you get spotted, it resets the mission. So yeah, you really have to think about it during those missions. But I wouldn't call it a deep stealth system. It's solid enough to keep it interesting and to have that variety of gameplay in there. And the driving and horse riding feels great as well. Obviously the horse riding isn't as good as Red Dead Redemption, but we can't really compare because Rockstar are just the GOAT. But with the cars, each car feels different. There's a decent selection, and I like the rickety old feel, which can be terrifying when you're going fast in some of the faster cars. But I was also impressed with the horse riding. Again, nothing's ever going to match Red Dead Redemption 2, but I always get funny with horse riding in games. Like, it's awful in games like Assassin's Creed, but in this, yeah, it's definitely decent. So graphics. So the graphics here are definitely solid. Don't get me wrong, it's not the best looking game I've ever played. And I did notice some bits and bobs here and there, and that's even on the PS5 Pro during fast movement. But when it's at its best, it's a gorgeous game. The world feels that it's lived in, has a handcrafted look to it, and you have the little details in the streets, the way the countryside rolls off in the distance. It definitely feels authentic. The facial animations are pretty brilliant, to be fair. You can see the tension in people's faces when they're angry, all the little subtle details in the faces. And I actually found the hair physics surprisingly good as well. The hair has a natural weight and flow to it that a lot of games still can't nail. Lighting's really good here as well. There's moments where I'm just riding along the countryside with the sunset setting in with the warm glow and the light cutting through the trees. That does make you stop and think, yeah, this is a pretty game. I did post a little clip on X the other day, and people were in the comments saying how beautiful it looked, and I definitely agree. It's not just the graphics, it's the way everything combines together, the world design, the animation, the lighting, and it does create a really immersive cinematic feel, and it ended up looking way better than I was expecting when we were going in. So performance. So myself, I've been playing on a PS5 Pro, and overall it's been pretty solid. I tested the quality and performance mode, but I ended up settling on performance because I always do. I just like that solid frame rate. And it does feel smooth from moment to moment. There's been the occasional dips here and there, but nothing really major, and nothing that's actually broken immersion. But the game's pacing and atmosphere carry on through even when the frames do drop a bit. In terms of stability, I didn't really have any problems, no crashes, no bugs, and nothing pulled me out of the experience. It's rare to go through a modern release and not really have any issues, but for me, you can let me know in the comments if you've had any issues. It's been pretty smooth, and it's the kind of performance where you can just settle in and just get on with the game without having to worry about it and no distractions. So then we've got the sound design. So again, another standout feature of the game for me. The audio is amazing, from the dialogue to the sound effects and just the overall sound design in general.
You appreciate his work.
I want to thank you. About before. About the job.
The guns have a real punch and weight to them, with each shot booming. And they've really captured the sound of each weapon really, really well. The vehicles sound really good. Each vehicle has its own distinct sound and feel. Overall, not much more to say about the sound, nothing out of place, and everything was mixed really nicely. I'm really impressed with the overall sound of the game in the end. Mafia The Old Country has pretty much blown me away, and there's been a few hiccups, but yeah, the gritty storytelling, the incredible acting, the beautifully crafted world, just the right amount of gameplay variety, it does all come together, and it does feel quite special. It's not the longest game out there, but it's definitely not trying to be, but it does deliver a tight, focused story. And when you're actually in it, it does seem to be a bit longer than what it seems, just on the hours that we were given. But nothing feels wasted. We got good pacing, good characters. Enzo's definitely going to stick with me, and a really good atmosphere to the game. And I'm not going to spoil anything with regards to the ending or anything like that. But if you're looking for a massive sandbox full of endless side activities, this isn't it. If you want a story-driven, in-depth game with heart and a level of polish you don't see every day, definitely grab this game. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's going to take a lot to get higher from me, and it only loses points because of the predictability and the repetitiveness of some of the knife fights. But I definitely recommend this game. So that's it for the Mafia review. I've enjoyed every moment of my time with the game, and I think it's going to be one of my standout games of the year. A couple of performance issues and a bit of a predictable story. Doesn't really break any new ground in that way, but still really, really enjoyed it, and I definitely recommend it. And if you played it, let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you're interested in seeing more, you can check out the Let's Play series. I will be getting some more episodes out. And don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the content there. And I'll see you for the next one.